Hello and oh goodness. Hello and welcome to season 4, episode 6 of Fabrically Speaking Live. I am Claire Rowley, your host and the inventor of the Creative Feet line of products. And today I have a cold, so I'm going to try really hard not to be a whiny host. And I apologize for any sneezing or sniffling. I'm going to have my finger ready to mute. Should I forget to unmute at any time, please don't hesitate to go unmute. Not sure which is worse. Today, I'm going to show you how to do some applique using raw edge technique, which means we're not going to fold under the edges of the applique. We're gonna just have a raw edge and stitch it down. And there are procedures that you need to follow in order to make it not a frustrating experience for you. If you've ever done for any kind of applique before, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and then tell me, how did it go? What was your experience on applique? Did you feel as though no matter how close you got to the sewing machine, you couldn't see the needle, you couldn't get the needle to go right off the edge of the fabric? Well, all of that is going to be solved for you today. And I chose this pattern that I've been dying to sew. It's something that we have at creativefeet.com. You can look under the video and see the products are listed right here in YouTube if you're on YouTube. If you are not, if you're one of my Facebookers, you want to make sure that you click on the 3 dots on the top right hand corner of the screen and give Restream permission to see your actual Facebook profile so that I can see who you are. Otherwise, you'll pop up as a Facebook user. I see Sanja, you already know how to do it. Welcome. And hi, Tina. I'm going to do my best to keep up with the chat. Hi, Wendy. Apologize for not being all together, but I gave myself some extra time to rest in hoping that I would heal. But go ahead now and I'm going to show you the pattern for those of you who may not have seen it. And the dog is barking. I think I got him to go outside. Sorry about that. One of the elements of this particular pattern is that when they design this, they have this darker element on the inside. This particular part is darker on this one, right? And then it spreads out and you have some lighter, it reminds me of an octopus a bit. But on this one, you see how it has light in the middle and the light carries out equally on both sides. So if you want to get the look that this pattern is offering you, you want to think of this as everything you do on this side, you do also on that side, so that you end up with a mirrored look, and that's what creates this faded out look, which I think really makes this a beautiful design. And now, for getting it already, like I said, we do have these on our site right now. We don't have that many. You can use what I'm going to show you today on any pattern that you have. Hi, Tina, Catherine, Patsy, Joanne. Welcome, everybody. I'll do my best to say hi and greet you, but I know that you guys take good care of each other in the chat. One of the products that we're going to use today is a fusible to hold these fabric pieces down on one another. And we have our own brand. It's called Fuse and Fuse. And when it's inside of your item, you can barely detect it. The dog is going to bark again. So let's see here. All right. So the Fuse and Fuse comes in 2 different size rolls. We have it in a 9-inch roll, and then also in this 15-inch length. And I recommended the 15-inch length for this pattern if you're going to utilize the full size of it, because if you make the full size pattern for this, and I did draw it out, this is just one little section of it. So you see how big this is. And I wanted to do this size, but it was just too big for the set. You know, something like that. See, that's not even all of it. That's just part of it. You can do this and have it go over a doorway or over a curtain. I just think it's beautiful. You don't have to do a table setting, but that is what I'm going to use it for. I have this table that is in front of me all the time, and I have placemats on it now that I quilted. But there's always this area around it that I get tempted to put a cup down, and other people do as well. So I'm trying to protect my table. Yeah, I've turned into my mom. Where's your coaster? Hi, Brenda. You can't stay and watch today? That's okay. You know that this will be recorded, and you can watch it on the replay. So this is another product we're going to use. This is to back the main body of the fabric, and I figured you'd all approve if I used purple as the main body of the fabric. And when I say main body, it's like what you see here. This one has kind of like browns, and this one has lighter color. This looks just like the fabric I'm using for one of my quilts. So when you have a contrast like this, or a design like this, you really want to showcase the actual design. You want to make sure that your backing fabric is a stark contrast to what it is that you're going to be appliquing. And so if you want, and this is the foot that I'm going to be using, our Satinedge foot, which does come with adapters to make it fit all sewing machines and instructions. So if you haven't already seen the Satinedge foot, it's a foot I designed for a blind sewer. It comes with instructions, and there are hundreds of videos on our YouTube channel. And we also have instructional videos available for you at Creative Feet. So this is a variety of different fabrics that I thought I might use with this. Keep in mind that this is going to be a mirroring project, so whatever I have on this side, I'm going to want to have happen on that side. And I thought, well, this is kind of fun because it introduces different colors, and it is long enough because I have cropped my pattern down to about, it's going to end up about this big when it's done. And in the middle, I'm going to use accented fabrics for that design in the middle. Another thing that you can do is you can use the fabric inks and ink your own fabric. And I was going to do that, but then I got sick. I was going to record it. Videotape the inking process for the applique and then show you by using my own fabric, but I didn't feel well enough to do that. So here you have a fabric with a bunch of different colors, and the design is pretty small. They're skinny little strips. So if I just cut half of mine with the wrong side facing up and I cut the others with the right side facing up, well, I'll have, or if I applique or iron my design on, which I'm going to show you shortly, onto this fabric where I have one going this way and then I flip it like this is what I mean to say. And then you iron the other side this way. I'll end up with the same look on this side as on that side. So key to making this look good. Hi, Lynn. I did add the pattern. I'm pretty sure. You're Lynn, right? Country Worm, or I may not have the right person. So I'm going to let you help me choose. But remember, this is for my living room. So here we go. Keep in mind that purple. I think this conflicts with that. So I really am not leaning toward that, but I think this kind of a thing would be really fun. So I'm going to pull that out because I just can't. But wouldn't that make a fun napkin or pillowcase flap? Oh, there's so many things we can do with these fabrics. These are little cheapies that I bought at Joann one day. They called them fat quarters, but they're not. They're half of the full size. So remember, we want the pieces to really pop in contrast to what's back there. And on this one, I thought, well, we have two sides to this fabric. We have this more subdued side. Yeah, we're going to use the Fuse and Fuse for this. And it's the Dragonfly, and you'll find these at creativefeet.com. I want to feel better, you guys. Oh, my first wine of the day. No. I could just hear Amy going, do you want some cheese with that wine? I'm going to try to remember what I'm doing here with a sick brain. I'm not as good. I need to, oh, there it is. So here we are at creativefeet.com. And for those of you who don't know, we have our own line of stabilizers, and they're the best. Save yourself the struggle. There's someone in the school that didn't have our stick and tear and used another brand and had to rip everything out and start all over again. And a lot of the companies are copying us in our stabilizers, trying to come up with what we did. And stick and tear is what I was referring to. Stick and tear is one of a kind. It's the only one in the world that behaves like ours. And so anytime you've ever tried to do any embroidery with an adhesive back tearaway stabilizer and you had trouble, it was not ours, it was a copycat. And a lot of times it even goes stick and tear instead of the word and, they have an N to try to make you think it's our brand. So then we have the Hold Light, which is what I'm going to iron to the back of the purple before I start, which I did show. And it comes in a flat fold. You can also use this for inking fabric. This is how I held the ink into the fabric for the book that I did last week. Fuse and Fuse is the one that I'm showing here. And my voice is starting to get hoarse. As I showed, we have 9-inch and 15-inch sizes of this. So let's... So we're going to iron this to the purple fabric to the back side to keep it from stretching. And then I'm going to cut these out. Help me pick the colors. And while I like this, I like this for like maybe Easter, maybe doing some kind of an Easter design. So I'm going to pull this one away. And they do in this pattern have a distinct difference between the two fabrics. And I think maybe these two are a little too close to one another. What do you think? We could use this blue and that, or these two. Help. I don't make decisions as easy when I'm not well. Now this blue has a bunch of different shades of blue as well. So I could even have it be this in the middle. This is the hard part, making your choices. And then there's the option of going solid as a complement. But then these I was thinking of the middle of the design, the little floret. All right, you guys, I'm not going to put you through this. I'm going to pull the blue away because there's no green elements in it, and I kind of want to use these tones and that. So if I fold this and think about where there might be some other green elements, and I can see green over here. I'm going to utilize that and stop wasting your time on your Thursday as I deal with a sick brain here. You like the one in the middle? First step, hold light onto the back of the main body of fabric. And beneath my cutting mat is the pattern positioned beneath my CutterPillar. Now this is the Ultra tablet, which is back in stock at CutterPillar. If you're waiting for your tablet to ship, just know that I don't know what it looks like to have 4 months of orders to get out, but they're dealing with that right now, or 5 months. Excuse me. So this is half. And I just need to know that I have the right size fabric here, which I've already kind of figured out, but I can't even think of what words I'm trying to read here. What is this camera? This is the front camera. My brain couldn't go there. So this is half of the design in size. So if I were to fold my fabric in half, and I did it exactly the same size in half, well, I wouldn't have very much room. So this is a good size for having the design end up being centered and having room around it to quilt and have some fun with it, which the quilting part will be done next week on Fabrically Speaking Live. Oh, so this is the CutterPillar, and this is the edge-to-edge mat that is on here, allowing me to place my design beneath. And I have lots of my Fuse and Fuse already open in my secret drawer here. My Mary Poppins drawer, as little girls used to say when I was at shows. They go, do you have a Mary Poppins bag underneath your table? Because I would just pull things out as I demonstrated for 7 hours straight at shows. I thought that was so cute. So what I need to do is trace the design. And half I need to draw on this side of the fabric paper, and the other half on the other side of the paper. Or after I do a trace this half, I pull the paper out and flip it upside down, and then I trace the other half and do both on the paper side, which is better because the stabilizer side is bumpy and your pen may not work as well on it. And then the stabilizer itself, if you write on that and you don't use a pen that washes away or irons away, well, that could be a permanent stain on your applique. So have you ever done applique before? Have you ever done applique? And if you have, what did you use? Did you use a blanket stitch? A satin stitch? I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller to make it easier to handle, and I'm going to switch cameras for you. I hope my bug is not bugging you. No one's chatting. If you guys don't chat, I'm going to hang up on you. I'm just kidding. This show is over. Wouldn't that be mean of me? So now I need to anchor this paper to the pad so it doesn't move. Where did I move it to? I have some artist tape that I usually use. I prefer to use my washi tape for other things. No one's done any... Can you guys say something so I know that the chat, that nothing's wrong? Brenda Foley, you used your Satinedge foot or a satin stitch foot? Because a satin stitch foot has a tunnel beneath it and helps allow thick bodies of thread to go through, but you're not a master at it. Hey, do any of you feel like you're a master appliquer? I think that would be an amazing thing. If there was anyone in here who did feel that way. A lot of people struggle. You may be able to get the process down, but getting your stitching perfect, that's a whole nother story. Ugh. This pin is not well. Where? Oh, where? On a pattern, and I did photocopy, or not photocopy, trace in using my scanner this into my computer so that I could make this design the size I needed for my ultra board. And they do give you permission to that. It says right here that you can take this pattern into a FedEx office, and that will give you permission to have them make the pattern whatever size you need it to be. And on the pattern you see 1B, 2B, 3B, A1, or 1A. Here's where I spliced the design together. And so inside of the design, it's like cut down the middle like that so that you can tape it back together. I would really have liked to have done this really big, but time does not allow, or I don't have enough time here to do that. Where's my regular markers? Oh well, I'm just not going to worry about it. It's so not my character to not worry about it. I took all my pens out of here. So you just start to trace around your shapes. And as you do, I'm gonna have to go get my other marker. This is too big. I'll be right back. It'll take me a second. It might help me to have a different color for you. So sorry that I'm not well, you guys. I also had to sneeze. Had a little bit of a sneezing attack. There we go. As I trace, I put my hand down so that I'm supported by the surface. Put your glasses on if you need them. Hello, everybody. Judy, Zena, Marilyn, Madeline, Wendy, Gail, I believe. Hi, Gail. All right. That's number 5, so you write number 5 on it. And you could do, this is going to be, even though I am drawing the right-hand side of the image that you see on the pattern, I am actually drawing the left side of the actual sewn item. So what I like to do is put a L. So I know that these pieces that have the L on it are going to be my left pieces. Sometimes you have a pattern piece that crosses over as well. So this piece is beneath it, and it needs to be bigger than the piece beneath it. And so I usually would move this. So having these pattern pieces all perfect and laid out like this piece here is going to go beneath that piece, but it still needs to be that big. And I got a little oopsie there. So when I have an oopsie, I go like that. And I point a line, or put a little arrow pointing to the line I want to cut on. Because we're not perfect. No matter how hard you try. And that is pattern piece 3A. So 3A, and then I'm going to put my little L on it. Now, if I draw this piece and I don't move the paper, it's not going to be big enough to go underneath this piece. And this is on top of that one. So I look at this and I go, okay, are there any other pieces I can draw without having an issue? And so I'm going to move my pattern or my paper so that I can get all of that. And I may have to flip it. Excuse me. So I've done 3A. I shouldn't have cut this yet. This is the things you do when you're not well. But what I can do instead of having to move this is do this one. I try not to waste as much as I can. This stuff is so wonderful, and nothing is worse than you run out of it and you need it. Now this is a piece that wouldn't matter, doesn't matter, it doesn't need an L or a R on it because it's the center piece. There's only one of them. And you can follow the pattern and have all of these circles be the same color or the same fabric, or switch it out. For simplicity's sake, oops. Now I can't see, but the camera can see better. I hit my elbow. This is the CutterPillar Ultra. Found at creativefeet.com. So you can see I didn't do a very good job right here. I'll straighten that out, try to make it better. Wrote on my fingernail. Is there anything else? You might be tempted to make this a separate piece from that, and you could do that. However, when it comes to this, it's a lot easier to not have to piece pieces together and make sure that they fit. So I'm going to set this aside, and we'll pretend I knew better and didn't cut so that I could move this around. The next one I need to do is this really fancy number 2 here, and this is A and B, but I'm just going to have it be the 2 and the L. And this is my L because it's going to be my left-hand side of my design. Now, if I were writing letters, like the alphabet, if I wrote baby, for instance, it's very important that you would have drawn this upside down instead of right side up, or all your letters will have the fusing on the wrong side and your letters will be backwards. Carol Ann Waugh from Stupendous Stitching, probably. So you can see this piece right here is on top of that one. So I want to take this, which is still my 2, and I'm going to have it go 1/4 inch beneath that piece. So it'll be slightly bigger. And here it's going underneath, and so what I do to imply that is I do this. So I know that this piece is actually going to be beneath another piece. So that's one that I have to cut. Now I need to do this fancy 1 A and B. And if you're using the pattern, it's actual pattern paper. And all of these are going to go under that piece. So I want to make it a little bit longer so it can go beneath this piece right here. Don't lose track. And actually, I'll bet this is underneath that. So that means we need to go up and over and then have it come down and then go over. Dot, dot, dot. See that shows me that I'm correct, that this piece here is going to be on top of this one here as well. I hope I did this right, because and here I don't have it perfect, so I would go like this. And that's how I know which line to cut on. This is how we deal with the human body not doing what we want sometimes. Carol Ann Waugh is a delight. She introduced herself to me at a show in Denver and said, "You don't know me, but I wrote a book using your foot." And that is the Stupendous Stitching book found at creativefeet.com. All right, and that is 1. So this is 1, and this is L. So do I have all my pieces drawn? I should have drawn 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I'm ready to flip the pattern upside down. Always put your lid back on so you don't end up with a dried out marker. This is the beautiful pattern that we're doing. So now I just pull out from underneath my nifty edge-to-edge pad and flip the design over. But now I can barely see those lines. They're so fine. Oh no, what do? You turn on the light and voila, there you go. You can see it. Now if you don't have a light tablet like this, then what you would do is take the pattern piece out, maybe hold it up to a window and draw on the other side of the paper. And see how she has these little lines here? I think that she probably had this pattern designed for using the blanket stitch. So there's your option to trace to make it easier, or if you have a light tablet, you can see through it and you don't have to trace. Now I need to do basically the same thing I just did all over again. So I'm going to do this one first. And trust me, when I first started doing applique, this was not second nature to me. I didn't always know where to cross over, how to do the little dots, and I made a lot of mistakes. In fact, before I invented the Satinedge foot, so in this case, I don't have to draw a line because I'll just make this as big as it really is. If I don't draw a line, then I know that I use the outside line. These are my little rules I created for my own brain. So here's where the pattern piece goes beneath. Here's where the pattern piece goes beneath. And this is number 2, and this is my right side. Will end up being the right side of the design. 70 degrees in Pittsburgh. Well, we have snow here in Arizona. Now this one I could have just done 2 because it's the exact same shape and there's no right or left side to it, I think. But heck, let's just be sure. Oopsie. So we're not going to do that. Try that again. Here we go. I really was going to have this all drawn for you, but I got sick. So sorry. Excuse me. Too far from my button. All right, so we got 2R. That's it. And then that is number 5. And this one's a no. Don't use. So why did I flip the pattern? Because there's a paper side and a fusible interfacing side to the stabilizer. And this is our fuse and fuse. When you use this, you can't even detect it in the fabric. It's super soft. And you could put this on the paper and print directly on it by taping it using like a repositionable tape. So I did the 2. Now I need, I'll do the 3. Trying to save on the stabilizer. Definitely better to tape to secure this down to the table. Dashed lines anywhere it goes beneath something. And this is going to help you a lot when you go to position your pieces. So my first applique project I did when I first started working at my parents' store. And it was a baby quilt with a bear holding a bunch of balloons. And he was flying up in the air. Cute baby quilt. Now this piece is going to go over this piece, or is that piece going over that one? I know I determined it on the other. So if I look for my other piece here, I can see that the dotted lines go into this. So I'm going to have to do the same thing on this side. And this is my 3R. It's okay, I'm sorry if I sound pathetic. I'm trying not to. There's only one piece left that I have to draw, if I'm correct. 2, 2. Sorry about that, I sneezed. That's what I get for hiring my assistant back. I let her come back and she's got grandbabies. So she was feeling sick, and then I said, well, stay home. But it was too late. You know, you're contagious before you know it. I got one more piece to draw on this. I just need my brain to help me figure out what it is. Okay. And then she hurt herself. She's got owies. We've got a whole bunch of pressers already almost made. They're this close to being done. Except for I should not be running that because I can't breathe very well right now. And these are the... And wait till you see this. If this is still in focus, you guys are going to be so excited to see how awesome this camera is. Check that out. Look at that close-up shot. This is my favorite. This is the Green Hornet. So all we have to do is form all these. She made all the pressers, but she hurt herself. And she just couldn't go any longer that day. We keep trying to be super women over here. Keep you all happy and have your toys made. But I'm thinking that tomorrow either one of us should be well enough to finish them off so we can send them out. And if you don't know what a presser is, yeah, you haven't seen enough of my videos. You use it for so many things. So we've got 2 2s. We have, I think it's the 3 I need to do. If it's the 3, that's no. There's my 3. 1, 2, 3. This should not be that difficult. 1. It's 1. I need to do the other number 1. Pretty sure. Can I save stabilizer by doing this? I can. I'm starting to talk like I'm from North Carolina or Alabama. I get a little bit wacky when I'm not feeling good. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Use depressor. I need a nap. What am I doing? Oh yeah, switching cameras. I'm pretty sure I haven't done 2 1s yet. Let's just double check. So yeah, it's the 1. I can't wait to be on the fun part, which is the sewing part. Have you ever watched videos on this kind of thing and gone, you didn't show me any of the sewing part. All you did was show me how to cut it out. Quit it. Cut it out. Stop just showing me how to cut things out. Show me how to stitch it. So that's what this is about. Is helping you actually stitch it out too. And I know that you want to see more than just a satin stitch. So I figure I'll do some pieces with a satin stitch. And some pieces okay, so this one's going to go beneath. It crosses all the way up into here. And then it comes down. If I were going to use a white fabric, before cutting out my pieces, I would put a fusible permanent white stabilizer, or interfacing is the right word, so that I don't have to worry about the darker color fabric showing through, just like you can see right here. This blue fabric, and then you put white fabric over it, and you can see, because of the light box, you can see the color showing through. Well, that is what would happen if you put white fabric on an applique over a darker fabric. It'll show all of the dark fabrics beneath that white fabric. And you'll lose the beauty of that perfect, beautiful white fabric on top of a darker fabric. So many times I've forgotten to do that. It's me trying to remember all the things I do wrong so you don't have to do them wrong. Oh, what's the next step, you guys? Do you know? What am I supposed to do now? Iron. And now I have to make decisions. Which one? And I really like the this one here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I really like this one because it has, I really wanted to ink my own fabrics to do this, but all right. So what do I like about this one? I like that it is, well, I love the colors, and so we have them coming out from center, but I don't have that going on here today. Today I chose two fabrics, so I'm doing more like this design where, let me see if I can give you the close-up camera to help you see better. There we go. So this one has solid fabric, the orange color, and then the brown comes in. So this is actually like 3 different fabrics together, which is beautiful in itself. I like it. However, I really liked this one. Too close. And that's not the really close, is it? Is that my super close? No, that's just my close. All right. So you can see how this is actually one fabric that they used, and it has an ombre kind of inking or coloring to it. And so they laid it out so that it mirrored. In my instance, in the situation I'm in here, is I'm going to use 2 different fabrics for the long legs of this, and then the stuff in the middle will complement the other 2 fabrics. Uh-oh, I'm muted. I don't hear myself. What happened? Okay, I'm on. I don't know why I must have, oh, I know what happened. A call came through. My brain is not as efficient as normal. Neither is my grammar. Okay, so I need to pick which fabric's going to be the longer ones, and I like the fact that it's darker in the middle, so I think I'm going to stick with that and have my lighter colors be the longer ones. So let's see what I chose. And I didn't choose this. Did I? Uh-oh, where did I put the fabrics I chose? Oh, there they are. Now, I can have these long ones end up with the orange on the outsides, and I think I like that idea too. That's why I like this type, because you have all these different color variations. So I could have done the entire thing with this fabric and made one of them the top and the other one the middle. I gotta mute. Well, by the end of the show, I probably won't have any makeup on my nose. Oh no. These kind of decisions are easier to make when you're not sick. You want cotton setting, but you don't want steam. I really like this too. Did I opt not to do this? Or did I? Oh my. How messed up is Claire today? This is so pretty. Where's my purple? Oh my goodness. I lost my main body if that was on the floor. Still need this beneath it to help me choose. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start by hold lighting the back of this main body, making sure that I have the wrong side of the fabric facing up. And hold light is the hummingbird. Now this is the stabilizer that's going to stop this fabric from getting pinched up or puckered from turning your fabric to follow these curvy shapes on this pattern. Oh. And it is not matte side to the iron, it's shiny side to the iron. Did I unmute? I am being so quiet in between things. Have I ever been sick before on a show? Do you guys know? I'm usually so healthy. And even though I am sick, it hasn't been debilitating. So for those of you who didn't see the notebook, this is what I ironed onto the back of this notebook. And what that did was it prevented the ink from coming through. So it has that use. It also is great for drawing out patterns and doing pattern drafting, and for sewing fabrics like taffeta, fabrics that fray terribly. I have so much static clinging here today. All these threads getting stuck on everything. So no steam. And see how it bonds to the fabric? So it holds the fabric lightly because it's light. It's not a heavyweight stabilizer. It lightly holds on, so after you're done sewing, you can peel it off and be left with no stabilizer. What did I have that was turquoise? I guess I can switch camera angles. It's kind of boring. I love turquoise as well. Judy, that's my favorite. And I had a green fabric that I really wanted to use for this, but I didn't have anything that really complemented it. And if there's one color this group usually agrees on, it's purple. So, and I figure a good color for a background is a darker color in case somebody spills wine or coffee on it. Since this will be on a table when I'm done with it. I actually wanted to do the design on the top and the bottom and have it like mirror itself. And I was going to have one half already ready for you guys and then show you how I did it. Oh, if only I didn't get this little bug. I'm grateful that it is just a cold, might be a sinus infection, that it's not COVID. Could be worse. So what's really nice about this being so big, this stabilizer, the whole light, is if you wanted to ink a really big design, you can cover a large area. And it comes in 20 feet lengths and 10 feet lengths, and it's 27 inches wide. And when the iron's hot, it's like so quick. Now you see why I didn't do a really big version of this? Hi, Ellen. Welcome. And Sharon. Hi, guys. And you may have been in here longer, but I just saw your names. Ellen is always yes on orange. I've been really liking my orange lately. Now I want to find center. If I want this in the center, do I? I'm now stuttering. Do I want this in the middle? Or do I want it up a little bit? And honestly, if I feel better between now and next week, I could always do a second one, couldn't I? Vote. I need your help. Should I position it up higher so that I could do two and have them facing each other? Or should I just... What should I do? Where should I put it? Oh, no, I don't know where to put it. Put it in the middle. Put it on top. Hurry, middle or top? No matter what, I need to find the middle. So I'm going to fold this fabric in half so I know where my middle is. And you can use an iron or the wooden iron to do this. Since this design is so long, I want a really good crease on this. How wide is my table? This is about a yard right here. This space. So this is like 36 inches. Because this is 36 inches to the tip of my finger to my collarbone. Because I used to do yardage for my parents' store. We'd sell a lot of fabric. That's how I'd measure out. I go 1 yard, 2 yard, 3 yard. Up higher. Alright, so now that that's ready, I'm just going to put this aside and make all my pieces. Because I'm going to have to lay them out on that. Now it's just picking which color. And I said lighter color for the bigger ones. I made a choice. Oh my goodness. I don't know. This is enough of a difference. I'm insecure. I could just use one of these and then one of these as the other one. That would be a simpler project. I thought I already decided this. You like the double idea? What was the double idea? This is me sick. I have no idea what I'm doing. How many Brendas are in here today? We got one that I renamed Brandy because I couldn't see Brenda Brandy. Now I have a new monitor and I can really see. I can see all your names. I can see it's even though it's 3 feet from me. It's amazing. The difference between a good monitor and a bad one. It's like good glasses versus bad glasses. I did spray starch these fabrics before I went on air with you, and I use the Premium Faultless because it works really good, and I don't have any problems with my breathing, which is a good thing today. I think I could do like the little circles in this, and then that one shape in this, and the one in the middle. What do you guys think? If I do that, I think I'm going to put this one away, even though Ellen loves orange, because I think this goes better with these. And then the teal side of Claire is very happy. Save it for another project. And then, because look at this one, I just have to make something out of this one. I love this. Don't you love that? You like the 2 rows idea. And luckily I have enough. So we don't have to decide that right now, but I'm leaning toward cutting out all the pieces, laying it out, and seeing, do I have room for a double? And if I do, I'm just going to do all this again off camera. And then next week, be done. I don't know. We'll see. Gotta do some stitching this week. Another thing I like to do when I have fabrics that have been folded like this is use my water with a little bit of vinegar in it. Thank you, Piccola. Oh no. I have the sniffles. And my dog, he thinks I'm upset. He thinks I'm crying. Every time I sniffle, he comes up and looks at me and he's like, "What's wrong? Please don't cry, Mama. Why are you so upset?" I'm not upset, dog. I'm just sick. That was me coughing before spraying the spray. So what I like to do when I have layers is spray the spray starch on here first, liberally, and then spray the vinegar water on top, and then it pushes that spray starch down through all the layers. I've been able to do like 6 layers of fabric at once. And see how wet that is? It's pretty wet. Then steam. You can use steam on this. And then push your steam through. And it kind of pushes that spray starch through. That's kind of cool. Wouldn't it be neat if that was like a design I could just create with an iron with ink? By the way, I did add another product yesterday. For those of you who can't afford all of the different colors of ink, this kit, they call it the Exciter Pack, and it's got 9 different little paint pods of the Lemure. And that's the Halo Violet, Halo Blue. These are the colors. I really, really love these colors. So that is available on the supplies link at Creative Feet. If you have yet to buy any of those, but you just couldn't afford the whole, to buy a whole bottle of each one. And as I said, this would have been a really great project to ink your own fabric. Why vinegar? Because vinegar breaks that crease. The vinegar just erases creases in your fabric, where you could be ironing for a while without it. See how it's staying? It's not going anywhere, even though there's spray starch on there. But you add vinegar, and this is not in your iron, but in a little spray bottle. And now it will just take that crease and erase it. Vinegar is a crease eraser. So if you bought fabric at like a flea market and it's 60-year-old fabric and it's been folded for 60 years, this is how you can get that fold out. And this is your white vinegar. I got it a lot wetter than I needed to. Now it's just pristine, and the spray starch gives it body. This is some of the cheapest fabric you'll ever buy. And so in order to make it easier to work with and nicer to work with, the spray starch makes it feel luxurious. That's probably why they call it the luxe finish. Because it's luxurious. It does have like a completely different feeling to it. A lot of people don't know about the vinegar. And you can also use potato water for starching fabric. Although if you don't do that right, you can end up with dirty fabric. Not only does the vinegar get rid of the creases, but it also de-stinks the fabric. So if the fabric has a smell, like mothball smell, that goes away. I gotta mute. Oh, I hate being sick. All right, I put way more water on that than I needed. There we go. Don't go too far, iron. Now I'm gonna turn the steam off now while it's on my brain, or while I'm thinking about it. And the reason is because if you use steam and you have paper and you push steam through that, it's going to shoot out from below the iron and burn your fingers. So that's, if you ever wonder why you're being told sometimes use steam, sometimes you don't, well, that's generally the science behind it. And wouldn't it have been nice to know that all along? So simple. I just don't want to burn myself. The product will still work if you steam it after. So this is the dark green. And the dark green I plan to use for this. No whining, Claire, no whining. Yeah, only like I only use like a teaspoon of vinegar in this whole bottle. You don't need much. You can't really even smell it. But it does take that mothball smell right out. Notice I'm not cutting down to the line on this. And I have these grouped together because I want to use these all on the same color fabric. So this is my center. Where did I do that pattern? Pattern, where'd you go? There it is. I really wish I had a big picture of it right here. Okay, so this is the version I'm doing. And it's got all of these. So this would be the dark, and then the two little twinks. Twinks. Oh gosh. I'm being silly now. These things, number 5s. So it would have been smart to group, if I had known what fabrics I was going to use, to actually draw these pieces close to each other on a piece, so I didn't have to cut into this giant piece. And when I go to iron, I'm going to be ironing them all grouped together using the least amount of fabric possible. I didn't leave myself much room here because we need space between the line on each of these. Okay, so maybe I was a little too frugal right there. Left a little bit of paper. All of a sudden I'm very hot right now. It's a good sign. It means I don't have a fever. Because you get cold when you got a fever. Alright, so now I need to look at this fabric and go, right side, wrong side. Right side, wrong side. And my stabilizer is separating from the paper, so I'm going to be sure that it won't move on me by using a little bit. Diluted vinegar, Xena, just a teaspoon of vinegar in a cup of it. So this is our liquid-based glue, which is just water-soluble stabilizer in a bottle. And just put a few dots on there to hold that in place so it won't move. And go ahead and set it down. Make sure that one's all good. It is. Trying to save fabric and stabilizer. So you don't want steam because it's paper. Paper is a solid, non-porous. It doesn't have holes in it. So if you were to push steam through that paper, it will burn you. It'll just push the steam right out from beneath the iron and burn your fingers. After you have separated the paper from the stabilizer, you can use steam all you want. And I advise it so that you know that the fusible is bonded to the main body of your fabric. Now get this out of the way. How fun. Okay. It's so much fun. This is, if you like puzzles, this is sewing for, I lost something. Was it my tissue? I think it was just a tissue. It's a new ingredient in the sewing studio. Tissue. So the 3 is the really curly one that should be closer to this dark than the other fabric. So, and this is one fabric that I was going to use, and it's kind of bright in contrast to the purple. Excuse me. Where'd my other light go? Oh, it's under here. Where is that? I know I had something chosen. So for that, for the number 3, I can use this. And it will really contrast with that. And then everything else will be that. Do you all agree? It's kind of subtle. Are we approving of my choice? Or should I go with Ellen and get orange in here? Ellen would like me to use this one. I just think it will fade this one out. You know, this one won't show as much. Come on, you guys. Participate. I showed up even though I'm not feeling good. You guys can type. By the way, this Saturday is the all-member chat for Create with Claire Rowley, which is my school. And while I can't possibly show every make and model of sewing machine and how you service them, I will be showing how to maintain your sewing machine this Saturday coming up at 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. It's a free Zoom chat, so you can ask questions and really know that you're treating your sewing machine the way you should, as I am a sewing machine mechanic. I serviced sewing machines for 10 years. So the solid, stay solid if you guys want the solid color. And I'm doing this to save on the fusible because I can use the scraps of this for something else. In fact, all your little tiny pieces of fabric that you have, every little tiny little piece, you can lay out our fuse and fuse and lay all your pieces down, and when you have them all down, put our hold light over it and iron it, and then peel off the hold light, and you have a fabric made of a bunch of pieces of fabric that you can use for whatever you like. So this stuff's gold, mostly because the fabric is soft when you're done as well. So we're going to use the light teal for these little guys. I think it's going to be pretty. It's going to be subtle. I'll be pleased. I'll enjoy having it in my home. And this will be for all the other pieces. But we're going to have to do some thinking on the other pieces, which is partly why I wanted to do solid. I don't have to think as much. It's easier to not have to think so much when you're not well. Trying to save fabric. Oh, I'm going to show you. So see how one is facing the other way? This is why I had 3R and 3L. That's kind of fun. Can you imagine what you could do? I mean, sometimes just putting things down on like this, if you did a whole bunch of these, you could do some like a dolphin and have the water splashing. Ooh, I should do a pattern for that. I'd really like to make more patterns for you. In the meantime, I'm adding a bunch of patterns to Create with Claire Rowley, or creativefeet.com, sorry. And the solid fabric, I can do some fun quilting on it that will show up more next week. Can you see me doing like a little design on there next week with the octi hoops? If you've wanted to do free motion quilting and didn't think you could do it, know that you should join us next Thursday. And any of you that, I talked to several of you this week, and you all are on projects or talked about projects, and I begged you to add them to the school. And you want to make sure that this is cool before you cut this down. And this is the next step, would be to cut these down to size. Now these are big scissors. These are my favorites for cutting appliques. And I don't get sore when I use them, because there's a spot for each finger. You got your thumb, and then your pinky goes here, and then these two fingers go in the holes, and then this one rests right here. And as I cut, now these are the larger scissor, which is good for larger cuts. Elbows down. This is definitely a time for our pillows. I always wonder what people think when they watch me and I pull out my little pillows. And the pillows are to save your back and your arms, and so you get to rest your arms on these cushions instead of the hard table, especially when you have these uneven surfaces that you can hurt your elbow on. So it allows you to work on an uneven surface. And I'll go ahead and show you the scissors on the closer camera. I think that's what you guys are asking. And these are the Applique scissors. So you see how it has those different spots. So when you work with it, your pinky goes here, your index finger goes there, and the other two fingers there, and your thumb. So I can even drop the thumb out of there and still hold the scissors, and I don't feel any strain across the top of my hand. When we're working on little pieces, you want to use the smaller one. This large cut, I can use this. Now, if you can't afford them all, then the medium size is my favorite of all three of the Applique scissors. Now say I lose control, and I do frequently with this hand because this is my arm that I had surgery on, and so I don't have the same range of motion that I would like to say I have. So I can, they cut through the muscle on this arm, so I frequently drop things with this hand. And the scissor itself holds the fabric, so I can be sloppy. This is my friend Rosa from Applique. She developed these scissors, and she and I both design products for those with physical challenges. So we have that in common with one another. I love her products, and we do have them under the tools. You go to products at creativefeet.com, go to products, then tools, you'll find her scissors. And these are the 3-hole scissors that you're seeing here. And then we also have the thread nips. And there is my first piece ready to be integrated into the pattern. Isn't it pretty? It's starting to be fun. You can use any other scissor you want. I know it's paper. And these are serrated scissors. They don't dull as fast. I shouldn't probably be using these, but I'm using the larger shear for this. You can use also the Applique stabilizer. I could have made 2 cuts for each of these. One 1/4 inch bigger for the fabric, and then a 1/4 inch smaller for the stabilizer, and then fold over the fabric. And those are that's the process for what she calls patchwork applique. I created a process back in the early 90s that I call invisible applique, and you sew fusible. You sew a fusible stabilizer to the right side of the fabric. And it sounds really weird. So fusible side to the right side of your fabric. And you sew on the actual line. Excuse me. So you would stitch around and stitch around twice with a really short stitch length. Then cut a little slit in the stabilizer. Turn it right side out. And you end up with a folded under fabric edge. That is one of the techniques in the Creative Feet Technical Guide and Workbook. And you can use it for garments as well as quilts and other applique projects. It looks as though you sewed the piece into a hole of the same shape. But today we're doing raw edge applique. And that simply is that there isn't any, the fabric isn't folded under. Starting to look cool. Now we got our circles. I'm thinking. I get really quiet when I think. I was trying to have you build this applique on something other than the fabric first. These little circles will be fun to applique. I plan on using the Invasifil thread for this. Maybe. I may or may not. I may use the Deco bob, but I don't think I'm going to use Polyfast on this project. Hi, Winnie. Hi, Zena. Picola, Joanne. I am sick today, so I am a little bit slower than usual. And I keep muting because sparing you my sneezes. This is the Deco Bob thread, and it's 80 weight instead of 100 weight. But I don't know yet if that's what I'm going to use. I'm leaning toward that. We will see. I will either do that. It depends on how much I want my stitches to show. Sorry for not having these cut out before. I'm going to go to the size I should be using, which is the medium size for these smaller objects. My hand is already more comfortable. And it's interesting because, honestly, these are the same size right here. There. So it's the same exact size handle. Left or right-handed. These are ambidextrous scissors. All that's different is the blade tapering and size. But I can tell you this, when I'm doing small pieces, if I use the bigger, it is a significant strain on the hand compared to the medium size. Do you guys find that? Those of you who have all three? And the third being that it doesn't have the 3 holes. It still has the serration. If you can't afford the Applique scissors, the Karen K. Buckley scissors are available at Creative Feet as well. And for those of you who are waiting for those, we have a shipment on the way for those as well. All sizes, by the way, including the purple or the blue. I don't know. Whichever one we didn't have for a while. We should be receiving them next week. Oh, you're not getting to see the fun of it, the building of it. So elbows down, I'm ready to take a nap. So nice to have the pillows to make this more comfortable. You sending me good vibes? Thank you. What's interesting, I'm just so grateful because sometimes you get sick and you can't work and you're in bed and that's it. You don't get to work. And then you get a bug like this and I can work. So I'm sure I wake up the crickets and the owls at night snoring when I go to sleep because I'm so tired. There we go. Yay! One color done. Next one. And I want to make sure I keep these together so I don't have to work at it. I'm going to take these little cardboard thingies and put all my pieces together. And take that and set it aside. Kind of like a little tray of pizza. These are the Kai scissors. These are my favorite shears. Shears are for larger cuts. If you have small hands and you have, if you ever got your hand like stuck in your scissor and felt like you had to pull it out, or your thumb get stuck in there and you got to pull your thumb out. That never happens with these. And these scissors, even though they're shears, have the best point, allowing you to cut your darts and thing, or your cutting marks for garment construction. And they're just super comfortable. Not that I'm advocating that you cut through sequins, but I have cut through lots of sequins using these, and they hold up. Now, why would I cut through sequins? I did it on accident. It wasn't on purpose. At shows, when I will be demonstrating the creative feet, because one of the things we can do is sew sequins. So I'm doing my best to get them down to a easy size, and it's like, is this person just trying to sell us a bunch of scissors we don't need? Really, that's entirely up to you. This is a long, gradual cut. It's easy on the eyes. I go deep into the mouth of the scissor, and now it's easier to cut because you have a long, straight-ish angle to follow. It's when we're working on more intricate shapes that we need to go down in our size. As I drew my line to cut on the outside of the black line. Thinking of that as you draw helps you when you're done. Now I'm going to make a U-turn. And I could keep going that way. No, easier to take it and go this way. And I always kind of like, oh, did I plan? Maybe not. So just in case, let's just cut this and wait till we have all the pieces out to make sure I drew those dots right. I'm a little unsure of my 3s. And that's the number on the pattern for these pieces. This pattern is available at creativefeet.com underneath the supplies. No, underneath books and patterns. These are also covered with tape. This is amazing how good they are. So this is not a serrated shear. There we go. And you save these little pieces because you can cut them and fuse these little pieces down on something else. They are nice. The Karen K. Buckley scissors are a nice substitute for the Applique. Excuse me. If you are joining us late, know that this is a recorded video. You'll be able to watch it on the replay. And you'll be able to fast forward, rewind, pause, all that stuff. This is a live show, and it is February 23rd of 2023. This is the day, the 222, the 2s and the 3s day. Sorry, this is me with a sick brain. All right. I'm going to kind of round that a little bit because I think I did that on the other one. I forgot to turn the iron off. It's amazing how long it stays hot. I'm about to need it too, so always ironic when it shuts off right before I need it. So you see, if I had not left some paper around my initial cut, I wouldn't have been able to be as precise in going around. So these are 2 more pieces for the puzzle. What do they look like to you? Do they look like antennae for a cute little kid's quilt? We can make a little, what? Give me an animal idea. What would have this look? Help me be creative, you guys. well, antennae. And had I not flipped the pattern halfway through, I would not have two opposite antennae. I'd have two pointing the same direction. That's why it matters so much. And make sure you check with the pattern to see, or watch the video back if you didn't catch from the beginning on how I did that. Outside of the sneezing and the coughing and my brain not being as good as it usually is, I'm not making that many mistakes compared to last week. And I ate my lunch, or I ate lunch late or before. So for those of you who worry about me, I know one of you said, make sure that you eat your lunch so that you don't have to worry about carrying it in there. This is the next one. This is it. We chose this. I don't need this yet. Put it back. Too soon. I'm getting all excited. Okay, wake back up. After this, I'm going to go to sleep. Naps. We're going to do our best to get all orders out tomorrow. We'll be checking with CutterPillar as well to see how they're doing. And update all of you that have orders. Yeah, this is wrong. Excuse me. I just can't waste fabric. I'm gonna cut this down. I think an octopus would be fun. This kind of a pattern. What kind of patterns would you like me to do? I have a whole bunch of applique designs that I created already. A series called Toys in the Attic that I'm going to be doing, so that you can use it for baby quilts and wall hangings and bumper pads and whatever else you may want. And this is where I have to think, because I need to position this so that when the swirl comes out, that the opposite swirl looks the same as the left swirl, but the opposite side. And that's the key to this really looking good when it's done. Otherwise, it'd be like, something's off. I don't know what's off with that. Solids are safe because you can't mess it up. Here comes the boy. Oh, he didn't. What sounds delightful, Winnie? I lost my train of thought. All right. This is the twos. This is a two. All right. In a minute, I will make sense. Have you ever done an applique before and hid it from everyone? Didn't want anyone to see the stitching because it was so poorly sewn, even though you did everything right. They say, what? What do they say? Bring your needle down in which side? Lower the needle, lift the foot lever, swing the fabric around, lower the needle. Why should you have to lower the needle twice? This one's coming apart. So what do we do if the stabilizer is coming apart? And you shouldn't have that happen to you. What I have in my drawer is reject pieces and the Toys in the Attic patterns. I can't wait. I wish I had more time in a day so I could do more. I should really put the lid back on this. It's one of my bad habits. Bad habits shine really bright on a day when you're not feeling yourself. Okay. Those of you who ordered the needle threaders, which took off, I mean, I didn't expect people to buy 10 of them. So apparently you guys have been wanting that needle threader for a long time, and I'm so sorry it took me so long to put it on the site. It's under tools if you're wondering what I'm referring to. I use it frequently on the show. So now I have that stabilizer back being held onto the paper. I hope my sniffling is not bothering you. I can hear Amy going, "Get the lid." Yes, 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 dear. All right. One more cut. What time is it? Oh my goodness. I didn't expect this to be a whole session. I almost went to the line. Do not go to the line on your first cut. Just trying to save fabric and save the fusible stabilizer. I don't know. Might have to just make next week be the sewing part. And that's just because I'm not well. I have nowhere to put my stuff. I usually have this extra little bin I put these in. All right, let's talk about this. So if you look at this fabric, we have these little tentacle thingies. We have this one and this one are the same. And this is that side of that. Little separation right there. By the way, we ordered a bunch of those needle shredders. And it is this little thing here. And it's got this tiny little wire on this side. I don't know if you can see it. See how tiny that little hook is on there? And this is bent, so it points opposite direction. So you can get right behind your needle eye. You can bring it back here. and know that I do need glasses. I mean, they're on my table. But you can also kind of feel your way down the needle until it drops in. You just want to be gentle with it because it's such a small wire. And then you take your thread and, oops, I wasn't through. Come on. I have a light shining right in my eyes. There's my glasses. It's amazing how much better I can see. But you can, as I said before, oh, my hands are so dry. Bring that wire right down the needle until it drops in. And then you go like this and pull it out. And why I'm mentioning this today is because if we're going to make a stitch really small, then we want to go to a really small needle. And this will even go into an 8 needle. So if you have issues with being able to see well, that's going to help you with that. If you also struggle to get, you can't see it enough, you can actually thread your needle in your hand You just want to make sure that the flat back is facing away from you, and then bring the wire in from this direction. And once it's in your hand, then you can grab it like this and pull it through gently, real slow. I'll make sure you don't pull that wire out of the tool. And by the way, I mean, I've had these, I had mine for years. Use it a lot. Now, I got to get that into the machine as a hole for your needle to go into, so that you can bring that needle up and under. So if your hands aren't very good, see how that holds it? So if you know anyone who has shaky hands, or if you just can't see to thread it when it's on the machine, this is the steps, and once it's on there, you slide it up and it holds it up there, and then you tighten it, and there you go. So this is one of the handy dandiest of all tools in all the years outside of the creative feet that have impacted me. And I really didn't think that anything could matter that much until I started losing my ability to see. All right, back to the sewing part. So we ordered 100 of those. We already went through close to that in a few days. So if you want one, know that we'll just keep ordering them. Now, back to the pattern, I have the desire to have some purple elements show up in this, but I got to make sure that it's going to do the same thing on the other side. So if I got to kind of look at this, and this is the back side of the fabric. Right here is the side that's going to go beneath the large piece. So on the tip, there's going to be a good amount of purple on the tip. I want to do the same thing here. And if I actually position it on the fabric, so I'm just trying to make it look as close to the same on both of these. I got it they're too close to each other. Can't do that, Claire. Crisscrossing. All right. Oh, we'll see what happens. You know what? I'm gonna like it no matter what. There we go. So just trying to have both of them have lavender at the tip. When I iron the pieces with the paper still on it, I don't iron, I press. Pressing is simply lifting the iron up and then setting it down. So you don't want to iron, which is sliding the iron around, until you're all ready to do the stitching part. Making sure we have good heat, that it is really securely bonded to this. And before I cut this, I'm going to position the other two pieces and try to make them have similar elements, at least to the very tip or ends of them. And that's because, see how this one has a light tip there, it doesn't here. So I think it would just look better if you can get the elements, at least either focus here or focus there, and try to make them look the same. All right, next pieces. Making sure that the stabilizer doesn't need to be secured. This shape's wild. So I want purple on the tip again. but we have to have enough fabric. And I can see that there's purple here. Maybe not as much as I would like. And now we got this one. If I iron now, I am at risk of not having another purple spot for this one. I think that's going to work out. This has been like at least a year I've been wanting to do this pattern. Do any of you remember me mentioning it? I was like, if you guys would like, I can teach this one. So lift and move it. Once it's all fused, you can iron. Do any of you have any questions about anything? I am here to answer your questions during the time when I'm not sewing. Now it's just a lot of the boring cutting again. So I am going to spare you for having to watch that, and I will kind of sit down with you with my pillows and cut these out. Now I know what fell. It was my pillow. And then go to sleep. I'm going to unplug the light when I'm not using it because I tend to turn it on with my elbows. One nice thing is these are big pieces, so for the majority of it, I can use my shears versus my scissors. This is a tendency that I have. I'm lifting my elbow up and I'm feeling like a pinching in my wrist and a little bit of a burn back here. So this is why I try to get you guys to keep your elbows down when you're doing things, so your body doesn't suffer. If you have to, then you would stand up and do it from an standing up position. And then you can rest your shears down, and that's what they're designed for. They're designed for you to set them down and to be able to cut without the tip going into the fabric. Whereas a scissor has a more pointy end, and you could, if you set it down, slice right into your fabric. So now you know why the scissor people have so many different scissors. Not only that, different weights of fabrics also. I'm probably going to end soon, you guys. I'm probably going to end after I get all the pieces down. And then next week, we'll stitch. And I'll maybe do half of it ahead of time so that I can quilt as well. It's just what it is when when you don't feel good. You don't feel good, right? You guys aren't chatting. I need you to chat. What is on your sewing table? And are you having a good time with it? Is there any questions that you have about what you're doing that maybe I could address? I believe I also scheduled the VIP live. The next VIP live is next Tuesday. For those of you who are in the VIP group at createwithclairerowley.com. And as I've said before, Saturday is an all-member. That means even if you're not paying for anything in createwithclairerowley.com, you can join on Saturday at 10 o'clock. And I'm going to talk about sewing machine maintenance and probably will sew something. How to organize your patterns. A lot of people use Tupperware and put them in there. I also try not to use my pattern. I open my pattern and I trace it onto the hold light or onto a newsprint paper that doesn't have any print on it. And then I fold it all up and put it back in. So my patterns are, in essence, perfectly fine. And I'm going to change the angle for a second and sneeze. Trying to read your message, Pacola. It's a long one. And it moved up. You understand that I'm sick? This is why I wanted to have like almost all of this already to this point. But then I also thought, you guys kind of like telling me what fabrics to use and stuff, right? Every time I think I've been boring during one of the lives, they call up and go, I love it when you don't know what you're doing and then you show us. And oh, and I just love it when you make a mistake and show us how to fix it. So you guys are either very supportive or you really do feel that way. You're learning projector patterns. Is that like you put a projector on the pattern and then you trace it onto something else? I used to teach children art using projectors to get their patterns on things. And sometimes I still do that as an adult, by the way. If I design something, I print it out and then I use a projector and set it on it and transfer it onto a canvas. I have marks on here that I can't figure out. I gotta look at this. Okay. So if you don't know what I'm speaking about, there are projectors that you can get at art supply stores and hobby stores. And you can take a design and set it on top of it and then project it onto something else and then trace. Is that what you're talking about, Roxy? Project PDF patterns. Know that the class on Saturday is a Zoom chat, so you'll be able to talk and blah, 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 and get to know each other. I just love this. I want to be cut and done already. The danger in doing something when you're sick is not doing as good a job. Have you ever pushed through even though there was this little voice in your head that said, don't do anymore, you need to go rest. And then you went, I can keep going. Only to find out you made two of the same sleeves. Have two right sleeves instead of a left sleeve or something. I did that once when I was about to leave for a trip. I made a jacket and at the end I had two right sleeves. Couldn't go or couldn't take it. I can't remember why, because usually the sleeves are not that different, but I couldn't use it, and I just had to go, oh well, there you go. That's what you get for rushing, thinking you can do more than you can in a day. Oh, page protectors. I've seen some organized sewing rooms out there. Man. To have the room that some people have in their homes, they have better setups than top professional seamstresses, you know? Whole walls of little cubbies to put Tupperware tubs in and do any of you have a really, really schwanky sewing area that you want to show off? If you do, show us in the school. Don't feel bad. We'll only be jealous for a minute. Partly why I do that is there was a time I made a wedding dress bodice and I used the pattern. And then I went, I'm going to bring it to the show and let everybody see, because I did all these fantastic elements on the, I used a bunch of techniques in my Creative Feet Technical Guide and Workbook on the front of this wedding bodice. So it was just the bodice, just the front little strip for the wedding dress. And there was a lady at the show and she kept saying, I want to buy this, I want to buy this. And I'm like, no, it's part of a wedding dress that I'm making. And she stole it. She actually stole it. And I didn't have the pattern because I was like, nah, I'm never going to make this again. And I didn't worry about it. So there's a story for you. It was it was too desirable. Now I'm going to decide if I'm going to do 2 of these or 1 based on the size of this. And this is bigger than my table. So this is more along the lines of the size I want, like that. It is octopusy feeling, isn't it? I think I may have it too tight on the top. We'll see. You've sewn wrong sides together. 24 by 36. Yeah, this is the perfect size mat. I have no idea what I said to make you say that, so I have no idea if I answered you. Hi, Chase. Oh, you're all wet. Chase is coming for his daily. Come on. Yay, there he goes. He's covered in snow. Hello, Snow. Hello, Snow Puppy. Yeah, it's snowing. You letting me know? Yeah, you're all snowy. Where are my other pieces? I'm missing some pieces. Oh, here they are. All right. So sorry for the coughing. All right. This is when it's a good idea to always print a copy of your pattern. And they don't really give you, one good solid picture that you can print. You can take your pattern piece that you were building from and bring it out and actually kind of build it on your pattern piece. And I should do this with the CutterPillar. There's one. Excuse me. No whining. No whining, no whining. Wrong side. Okay, so that goes with that. Here we go. Here we go. I was really quiet for a while there. I'm listening to myself talk from the past because there's a delay when you guys are hearing me. It's been a while, and so there was this long lag between me talking and me talking now. I didn't mute. I was just getting spaced out and listening and thinking about how I would normally build something like this, because it's really hard to see through this dark fabric. I would build this on something before I go to actually put it onto the main body of fabric. And you can use different products for this. Hold light is a good option to lay the whole light out and put it on top of the tablet, because you can see through it, and then you can iron. Or you can also use the Glad press and seal to kind of build upon. If you lay it down and you stick it down and have it the sticky side facing up, and you can lay all your pieces down and see through. So I'm thinking that is an option. But let's just see if I remove my ironing mat here. The best option, and there's different products out there that you can buy for this, which wouldn't be a bad idea for me to add to the site. Oh, my little dots. Don't lose my dots. All right. So before putting it on the fabric, we're going to make it into one big piece. That's the goal. What do you guys think I should use? The Hold Light? Or try the Glad press and seal? I'm too tired. I don't feel good and I don't want to do anymore. So it's shiny side to the iron. Take this, put it back under. Do you guys have a Teflon pressing sheet? This side goes to the iron. So the pressing sheet, what people do is they iron onto the pressing sheet. You could also use parchment paper. All right, so the iron's going to be there, and we're going to build on top of this. Excuse me. I'm probably going to have to stop. So you can use those Teflon baking sheets as well. First thing I need to do is know that I have all the pieces to assemble one half, as I already did, and now I'm going to do all over again. Here we go. Here we go. And then there's this. All right. So the trick is that we have to get all these pieces to line up on our fabric. The fabric's dark, so we can't see through it. There. So we need to peel off our I'm trying to think, should I have the shiny side? I think I should have the shiny side facing me. I have the shiny side facing me. I can't think it through right now. Darn brain. brain on a cold. You commiserate with, oh, you have one too. So if you have a big pressing sheet, it's a Teflon pressing sheet, you can iron these pieces right down on top of it, the fusible side to the fusible. You can also use the paper release liner from our Fuse and Fuse stabilizer. Come on. Gotta get the paper off, which is no big deal, usually. So if you are wanting to do this pattern with me, pick up the pattern at creativefeet.com under the patterns link. And I think I put it in the description below this video. I'm hoping that this pattern will continue to be available. One of the ways to separate your paper from this is to use a pin. I was thinking you were seeing this and not, you're seeing that. So we're building on top of the stabilizer. So anywhere, after I remove the paper, anywhere where one piece overlaps the other, I can actually glue down with the liquid-based glue the pieces so that they don't move in the area where they overlap to one another. But out here, getting these beautiful swirls to line up just so, when I'm on the other fabric, I need to have some type of a guide on the dark fabric to get them to lay down in the proper position. So you could either trace around the design, cut this pattern piece out so that you have an outline, and use a chalk style of pen, which I know I have in here somewhere. Yeah, here we go. So pins that are made with chalk to write on dark fabric. I just need to sharpen it. And I could go around that design, the paper itself, cut out the paper around, lay it down, draw around. That's one way. And the other way, as I'm saying here, is to build it so that they're fused to each other. And none of that can be done until the paper's off. And so the paper release liner, just kind of tear a little bit and slide it under. I'm going to use the other camera. Eat some soup. I want soup. Soup sounds really good right now. I was so excited about how clear I got all the cameras. I remember, yeah, Amy's probably not here. She said she probably wouldn't be able to be in today. No, everyone pray for Amy. She's going through something right now. There we go. So now that's fusible. So you can fuse it to a Teflon sheet and it will be fused to the Teflon sheet, but Teflon sheets can peel off, or the fusible web can come off of a Teflon sheet, which I do have one in the other room. I could get it. But mine is not see-through. I know I have a see-through one. But once again, you just take a pin, just kind of score it and get it in there. These little fiddly things are always, I'm a little awkward because my left arm having that surgery. So I'm a little bit wonky whenever hand sewing or any intricate thing that you have to use your fingers for. One more piece. I'm so glad to hear you say that, Madeline. It has been quite a journey to get the cameras working. So excited. All right. I am on the right side. I'm on the correct side of this. So this is the side that fuses to the fabric. So I am on the correct side for building this on this, except I have to think, do we want to take and do we want to build it right side up or upside down? So I have to think for a minute. Yeah, we want it the other way. So I should flip the pattern. All right, so now it all makes sense. And you need to think which piece is supposed to be on top of which piece. So you can see the lines to help you. So this one's got to be below that one, but on top of this one. So this one needs to go down first. This one goes over the top. Now you see how accurate I was in my cutting. This is where I made this piece bigger, so this one could lay on top. Right? Okay. There we go. When you know that you have an intersection set up correctly, take a little bit of the liquid Baste, a hot toddy. Isn't that alcohol? I tend to avoid that when I'm sick. My mama used to have brandy. She used to have, I think she did. I think she warmed up brandy. And because this is water-soluble stabilizer, no biggie, but it's in there. Next piece, according to the illustration, this piece goes on top like that. So I want to make sure that my point is lined up and this point. So with that point and that point, if they're lined up nicely, based on the pattern, this one is supposed to go underneath. Okay, so, but is that correct? Because I got to think backwards. We're building this upside down. So if we're building this upside down, I'm wrong. This needs to go that way. We got another intersection right here, so we just put a dot in the intersection. And another dot in this intersection. And here we have overlaps on this side. So wherever the fabric overlaps the other fabric, it's perfectly all right to put a little, did I already do it? No. Long strips like that, I'll slide my finger over. So now you can see the overlap. I don't know if you can see it as well as I can. Camera tends to squint when the light is on the tablet. Yeah, this needs to come down like this. And I have that pointy part that should not be there. All right, so here's another overlap. See how handy this is? This liquid base is something else. Now, this piece is going to go there. What is a hot toddy for you guys? Is it brandy? Hot lemon juice and honey. Now that sounds good. Hi, Brenda. You had a doctor's appointment? That's probably where I should go. Beep, beep, beep. All right. So what you're seeing here is a section that I'd like to keep together. And this is going to be on top of it, not below it. So this, but this is a really important piece. I want to build the other half. Let's do the same thing, except I'm going to cut this off. Try to get it not to move. Turn the iron back on before it gets cold. Make sure the iron is not on steam. This can be done later. This is where you really want to have a fusible pressing sheet or our release liner from our fuse and fuse, which I usually have a piece ready. I'm gonna go get my pressing sheet from the kitchen. I'll be right back. So I don't mess up my iron and everything else and have you guys laugh at me. Although I did want to try something. Hi, puppy. You brought your ball. I'll have to add pressing sheets to my list of shopping for the site so you guys can have one. Now that is ironed to the hold light. And the fusible part, there we go. So see how I've created a section? Now I can do the same thing on the other side. And when it's time to assemble this, see why I love the hold light, you guys? It is just something else. I'm about to end. I have no choice. The brain is just so tired. Then I will be able to build it. I'll be able to move the three sections because I'm going to make one section with the centerpiece. And I'll be able to move it around on the fabric until I have it right where I want it. And then you iron again, and the hold light holds all those pieces together, after you iron it, the hold light peels off and you are ready to do your satin stitching or blanket stitching or hand stitching, whichever method you have chosen. Well, that's a funny thing. Oh my goodness. I chose the wrong camera. Did that make sense to you? I hope it did. That hold light is so awesome. So basically, I've created this swirly applique onto a piece of hold light, and the back side of that is the fuse and fuse ready to permanently fuse to this fabric. And I will be able to choose whether or not I want it in the center or up at the top, or maybe I want to make more than one and have them point to each other. And all of that will be decided before next Thursday, when I will finish fusing all the pieces. I'll have them all built up, and if you want to join in, make sure, well, now you have more time to be ready for the stitching. Thank you, Madeline. Sincere wishes. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm ready for a nap. The whole light just peels off. I wanted to try something though. Oh yeah. Well, let me try this one thing, because I haven't tried this and it might work. And if it does, it's like just another wonderful reason to hold light. I have that in there. Don't let it get messed up. Right, Claire? Nope. I know myself. I need to be able to see what's there. All right, so here I have some fabric that has the fuse and fuse on it, and I'm thinking, wouldn't it be cool if hold light can replace the need for Teflon? We'll see. It just might. But I'm not going to use my pieces that I worked so hard to cut to try this out. First time in a long time I've had a pattern that I built on dark fabric like this that has out of control pieces. All right. And by the way, you can print on the hold light. So you could tape it to a piece of paper and print. I'm going to have the foot hold all those pieces. All right, here we go. Testing another use for hold light. Not using pieces I already created. All right. I thought I'd be all better today. I know I have scraps of the light. I have scraps of all of this fabric. There they are. I just heard myself say, right, Claire? And I was like, what? Oh my goodness. This woman is going to go to bed soon. We will do our best to get all orders out tomorrow. Okay, so the first thing I'm doing is getting all these pieces, and I'm going to stick them together like I did over there and explain what I'm trying to test. I'm trying to skip kneading the Teflon sheet. Oh, I hate sniffling. Let's see, another use for the creative feet. To hold all your pieces while you're working. You didn't hear me moaning. Thank you, Ellen. And Pacola. And Brenda. And Judy. And Wendy. Boy, I didn't catch that for a while. I was in my own little world. All right. Okay, so what I'm trying to see is, can hold light be used for both applications, which would be what we're trying to do is speak. I'm trying to communicate. It's fusible side to the iron generally, which means this is the actual fusible side of the hold light. So if we were to stick our iron right here, the iron would want to stick to that. So if I go like this and make a sandwich, I'm glad you found it fun, Pacola, even though I muted myself for a good portion of this. All right, here we go. Excuse me. Oh, we've got it bonded to itself. So it doesn't want to come over. Oh, that's a fail. Why isn't it? I'm not hearing myself. Boy, was it in quiet that long? A, B, C, D. I see the microphone acting like it's on, but I still don't hear myself. Boy, I was muted for so long. Oopsie. All right. So, excuse me. So sorry. It's still not a fail because I just tried to do two things at the same time. Excuse me. Now you know why. My microphone. The microphone's going into the red. This voice has to stop. That's my alarm clock saying if I can't stop coughing, it's time to go to bed. So that was a fail. And what I was testing was to see if we fused the fusible side of fusible webbing to the hold light, would we be able to pick it back up again? And no. So stick with what I showed you the first time and you'll end up with this. And next week you'll see the hold light will just come right off of the top of this fabric after it's been ironed down to the purple. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode of Fabrically Speaking Live despite my illness. And if you've yet to join Create with Claire Rowley, it's a free school. And as I mentioned, this Saturday, which is 2 days from now, and it's the 23rd, so the 25th of February at 10 in the morning, so it's earlier than usual. Sorry, everyone in Australia. On Saturday, when I go live earlier so that you guys can be off and have fun on your Saturday and not spend the whole day inside. And I'm going to show how to maintain sewing machines. I may bring a couple in here to show you. And when I do a Zoom, I have the ability to use my cell phone as another camera, so I can really get in there and show you the inner workings of your machine so that you know how to keep your sewing machines in as good a condition as possible in between its visit to the sewing machine doctor. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button on your way out, because it does help the YouTube algorithm know that you liked it. And it is February 23rd. It is 4:40 p.m., which means I ran over 20 minutes from my normal time. I usually spend 2 hours with you every Thursday. I'm supposed to go only an hour, but I don't think I've ever only got an hour. You guys are just irresistible. I love you all so much. As I mentioned, hit that like button. If you've yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I sure hope you'll do so today. And trying to find my next thing, see if I can end this the right way. Thank you for being so patient. All of the times that you have been patient with me. And I will see you Saturday for the all-member Zoom chat in createwithclairerowley.com. If you're seeing this and it is not February 23rd, well, you may have missed that, but join createwithclairerowley.com and you can be a part of the next Zoom chat and get to know everyone that you've been chatting with. Love you all so much, and I will see you next week. Bye. Mwah.